Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today I'm going to be sharing two breakfast casserole recipes that are really easy to throw together and absolutely delicious, and also a fall recipe, which this week is going to be for this pumpkin French toast. The first casserole in today's video is for this sausage and egg casserole that I found on Jimmy Dean's website. So I'm just starting out by browning a half a pound of sausage. I did half of the recipe, but I will have all of these recipes linked down in the description box below, so you'll have all of the measurements you need. And you don't have to use Jimmy Dean sausage, but that is actually what I prefer, so that's what I'm using. But whatever you like, you can use here. You just want to let that brown well. While that was browning on the stove, I went ahead and started working on our other ingredients, which I'm just going to combine some milk with eggs and a little bit of Dijon mustard, and then I'm just going to whisk that well until everything is combined. This casserole recipe was new to us, and I was really intrigued by it when I saw it because one of the ingredients that you'll see here next are seasoned croutons. So you can use whatever kind you like, and you're just going to go ahead and add that into the milk and egg mixture. And then I just kind of toss it around a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in the cheese and the sausage next. I wanted to give this a toss first just so it can start absorbing some of that liquid. The croutons, since they're dry and crispy, what they'll do is absorb a lot of that. So when you bake the casserole in the oven, it's all really well combined. It's not liquidy at all. So here I added in some freshly grated cheddar cheese and then that sausage that I browned on the stove. If your sausage is really greasy, you do want to drain off any excess grease or oil before you add it into this mixture, but I didn't have much, so I went ahead and just added that into the mixture. And then since I did half the recipe, I'm putting this into an 8 by 8 inch square pan. I did go ahead and spray that with some nonstick cooking spray. And then the last step is just to top it with a little bit more of that cheddar cheese. And then this is going to go ahead and bake in an oven that is preheated to 350 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. The second casserole recipe is for this Hashbrown Casserole, and I've seen a lot of different variations of this, but this is my personal favorite. So what I'm doing here is just adding some sour cream into my bowl where I had melted down some butter. And then to that, I'm also going to add in 1 can of cream of chicken soup, and then also going to season that with some salt and pepper and then some dried minced onion. I love dried minced onion, so I go a little bit heavy on it because it's one of my favorite ingredients in this casserole. So if you don't like onion, you can absolutely leave it out, but if you like it, just feel free to measure that with your heart. Then you just want to whisk it well until everything is combined and smooth. And then I'm going to go in with some hash brown potatoes. I'm just using these that are thawed, and then also some shredded cheddar cheese. And then I'm just going to stir all of that well together until it's thoroughly combined. And then as I was stirring this, I had just a little bit of cheddar cheese left over, and I noticed that I did have enough of like the wet ingredients to add the rest of it, so I did go ahead and add the rest of that into it. But again, this recipe will be linked in the description box below, so if you want exact measurements, they will be there for you. The final step is just to top the casserole with some crushed cornflakes. So I just do that directly out of the box with clean hands and crush as I go. Now the recipe calls for you to combine it with some melted butter. I do that sometimes, I don't always do it, so I don't think that you have to. And I also add more cornflakes than it calls for because that's my favorite part, is the crunchy topping. And then I'm just going to cover this with foil, and it's going to go into a 350 degree oven for 50 minutes. And then I removed the foil and cooked it for another 10 minutes. The last recipe in today's video is for this pumpkin French toast, and oh my gosh, this was absolutely amazing. So I'm going to start out by making the pumpkin butter that is optional to make to go on top of it, which I highly recommend you make because it is so delicious. So I'm just going to add some softened butter, a little bit of pumpkin puree, and a little bit of maple syrup into a bowl here. And then for the spices or seasoning, I'm going to use some cinnamon and some pumpkin pie spice along with some vanilla extract, and then just beat that together well to combine it. You don't have to use your mixer, but I just find it like the quickest and easiest way to do it. And then I'm just going to set this aside while I assemble everything for the French toast. So to a square baking sheet, I just found this easiest using my 8 by 8 inch pan. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the ingredients for the French toast. So that's going to be a couple of eggs, some milk, more pumpkin puree and vanilla, and then some more cinnamon and pumpkin pie spice. And then I'm just going to whisk all of that well together to combine. And then since it's in this pan, it's going to be really easy for me to just dip my slices of bread in to cook. So here you can see I'm just going to take one slice of bread at a time, and I'm just going to put it in, flip it over, and I just like to use a fork and then put that directly into my pan that I have melted butter in. And then you're going to cook each piece about 2 minutes on each side. And you can use any kind of bread. The recipe called for like a brioche bread, but I just use regular white bread because I had it in my pantry and it turned out amazing. So don't feel like you have to go out and buy every specific ingredient that a recipe says. You can substitute different things and get a great result. Once the French toast was done cooking, I just topped it with some of that pumpkin butter, and then I did a little bit of whipped cream. You could do powdered sugar or some more maple syrup if you like. But I really hope that you enjoyed seeing these breakfast options. If you did, I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't done so already and join my YouTube family, and I will see you in the next video.